excluding the executive committee, and the non-attending, of course. And aside from that, I say we are pretty in line. Okay. Do we have any questions on logistics, organizations before we... Logistics and organization, singular, before we start? Sure.
Just again to tell when are the additive lessons.
Okay, the extra lectures, there's going to be, for now, what we can tell you, because the other things depend very much on the availability of rooms. For now, the only which we can guarantee is going to be this Thursday, so in 2 days' time, from 1 to 3. Okay. Then there's going to be likely another one next Monday. We're going to shift the time. Likely, not guaranteed yet. And then we'll have an extra 2 classes in the following weeks, but I can't tell you the exact time yet. And the policy for these classes is, of these classes, there's going to be 4 of them, 4 changes. You can skip 2 without being counted as absent. So if you have clashing, we ask you to make a fair trade-off, okay? All right. So, we pick up from organizations. Last time we were talking about organizations. And I kindly ask you to, if we start to repackage what we did last time. So we try to frame what we did and have a quick rehearsal, okay? So we said, Sandro, can you help me with the quick, don't worry too much about the announcements. Can you maybe help me with a table so that we go, as I did last time, with decisions, environment, decisions, organization, on the computer, on the Blackboard, as you prefer. So, the 3 main topics we have covered now are the environment, decisions, and organizations. We've repeated this ad nauseum, so there's no need to go over this all over again. But on the environment, we have said we have certainty, risk, uncertainty, ambiguity. On decisions, instead, we have Olympic rationality, bounded rationality, and retrospectives. And last time, we were mapping these 2 organizations. Okay? So, this time, up to you. What are the organizations of certainty? And the microphone runner, if you can help me with handing out the mic to whoever wants to speak. Organizations in certainty. Yeah, organizations in certainty and Olympic rationality. What are the forms of organizations in that scenario? Yes. One option is that we have no organization. Then we have also put an historical example, which was also connected to the matrix, if you want. Still on certainty. So to go back before the critical mind who pointed it to me last time jumps over me again because nobody knows the answer, we have 2, in the 1900s, we had 2 main models, correct, of big societies. We had the Western model of capitalism and the socialist model, 5 years planning, okay? So we have the architectural planning, completely top-down, completely dropped from the top. There is somebody, we have the assumption that somebody can take a decision and can organize the lives and the details of. We had, again, 2 examples, one of which was the textbook example and the other came out in the questions and answers. On risk. So probabilities are given, there's no need to search for them, or you cannot search for them, but they are already out there. Okay? We are still Olympic, so we know everything. What are the organizations of risks? Risk. Sorry? No, in risk, we are still in the realm of Olympic rationality, in risk. So the way it works is that since in both uncertainty and risk, we have everything is out there already, and we know everything, this is still Olympic rationality. It's like when you toss a die. You know the die has 6 faces, you know you can't alter it, there's no need to look for the different numbers, that's it, okay? So it's still Olympic rationality. And what is the organization of risk? What are the 2 organizations of risk? When you go to Piazza Affari in Italy, you have the... What is Piazza Affari? The stock market, the Borsa. So market, free market is the realm of risk. Things are already out there, you either sell or buy depending on what the prices are, and it's bets. You are betting on whether a product will be bought or sold, and depending on that, you see what happens. This is not a perfect model. We had an observation from the lady there that says, it doesn't really work like that, because of course, nobody has perfect understanding. If everybody had perfect understanding, we would all win. And this wouldn't make sense. So, and the second organization of risk, yeah, please. Sorry? Borsa. Borsa, yeah, it's the Italian translation. So for stock market, just to equalize the field, because I know this is like a bit of technical jargon, okay? So stock market is the organizations of risk. Another option we had was a casino. A casino is all about risk. It is structured, but the casino itself is a good proxy of pure risk organization. Okay? Then we spent a lot of time about organizations in uncertainty. So in uncertainty, we have bounded rationality. Bounded rationality is defined by one key factor, which is bounded is also, you can also say bounded, or we have another adjective. Procedural. Very good. So procedural means we have routines, as much as we have them in the uncertain environment. We can search, we can iterate, and things get better and better. And the organizations of uncertainty, we have put 3 big models. Can somebody help with summarizing so I see also if I explain well or not?
What is vertical?
Yeah. Yeah, we have 3 main organizations in uncertainty, which are based, again, on routines. One is vertical or functional. And what is a functional organization?
Functional is top down, so we have like the upper part which holds most of the responsibility, and as we go down to the bottom, we subdivide the functions into different departments or organizations.
Yes, so every unit in functional organizations is organized as a vertical pillar, let's say. Each one of them may have its own sub-hierarchy, but it's there. It has, it's the functions of each organization. So for example, university, you can see it as functional if you take departments.
Correct.
Then we have another way, we have the horizontal way.
Yes, so the horizontal is, as far as I understood, we split and we go bigger. So actually that's one of the downsides of using horizontal, because we can get really big and it will become complicated to manage. So
okay, so let's do we have other inputs on horizontal organizations? Because maybe this was the part that was a bit more confused. So the gentleman here said you need an horizontal organization when things get bigger. You need divisional organizations when things get bigger. Can somebody divisional organization. Can somebody help with detailing this a bit more? Either from the front or from the back. Okay, so wait, Sander. Bounded rationality, functional organizations, that's all on uncertainty. Risk is with certainty above. There's no organization or architectures or markets, free markets. So, divisional organizations. Anybody? The notes are in progress, I know they are. Anybody who can help with divisional organizations? So, if we stay in the university and we have multiple departments, we have also said, for example, we might have one in Povo and one in the center, correct? We have the administration in Povo, which is like right outside of this room. Do we also have an administration in the center for Sociologia? Yes, we do. And do they have a head of administration? I assume so. We have an head of administration here as well. But the head of administration here, does she hold any power towards the center administration? No, they are divided. In this case, they are divided by geography. One is in Povo, the other is in Trento. Okay? So in divisional organizations, each division has its own hierarchy, has its total functional structure, a complete structure, but it's divided either because of duties or because of geography. So if you have big organizations like, I don't know, could be Intel, of course, if Intel has main hub in Italy, they will need to have their Italian administrator. They can't rely purely on their American headquarters. If they go in Malaysia, they'll have an administrator for Malaysia. Okay? So one is, you divide them by function, and each function just answers to their boss. So administration, faculty, students, and each one refers to the one on top of them. The other is divisional. So DISI, DII, lettere, sociologia, maths, physics. Okay? Do you see how this works? Question mark? Do you? No. It was a no. Who had a no? Just two, just so that we can frame it better. Nobody? I heard it. What was the... Can somebody say who they were? Guess not. Okay, so, if you don't engage, I'll be very frontal and we'll need to go forward. Everything which we do is, hopefully for your gain and for your benefit. So if you don't engage, I'll be more frontal. It's fine for me. It's easier as well. But of course, it's up to you. So either you engage or I just need to step on. Okay? So did we have issues on horizontal and vertical organizations? It's fine?
Yes.
Okay. So, and we said, what happens when we cross these two? We create another kind of organizations, which we have called the matrix. Okay? But, so in the matrix, things get blurred a bit. But what is the issue there? Accountability. And accountability is an issue because we have a problem, which is positions are redundant. Maybe we didn't use this specific word, but the main issue is related to redundancy. So since we have many administrators, many heads of staffs, many functional and divisional responsibles, we don't know who the ultimate person who should be accountable for if something goes wrong is. Okay? So, up to here, this has been all, in the realm of uncertainty. But before we move on, let's take a quick step back and let's try to see what is innovation and who is the entrepreneur in this environment. Okay? And in these organizations. As we did for decisions, as we did for the environment. Okay? So who could be what could be an innovation in certainty? In an organization which is in certainty. So of course, if there's no organization, there's no innovation in organizations. But if there is the architectural planning, who is the innovator in the architectural planning? And what is innovation in architectural planning? So I put myself a fancy hat. I am now Joseph Stalin, or I am, I don't know, right? And who is the innovator after 5 years? What is the innovation after we start a plan, 5 years pass, then we have another plan? What is the innovation? You have no idea? Sorry? In either in following the plan or in changing it. Because if we have seen that last year we didn't make enough cars, in the last 5 years we didn't make enough cars, we need to change the goals. So still architectural, still, I'm Joseph Stalin with a fancy hat and I tell you, this is the plan for the next 5 years. But this is some sort of innovation. It's not very strong, but it's some sort of innovation. And who is the entrepreneur if the innovation is just to change the plan? So we are in architecture, okay? One way to change it is to change the building. The other way is to change the... Sorry? The staff, the architect. You change the architect. That is the entrepreneur. So the entrepreneur in certainty might be the very architect, which doesn't, do much because of course everything is already set. But he changes the plan. And he says, okay, this is the new plan. What about risk instead? Who could be, what is the innovation? Who is the entrepreneur in risk in the stock market? This is the most stereotypical idea probably. Okay, so can I have an investor? Hands up. One investor? Somebody at random? We have an investor here? Thank you very much. All right, you're my investor. So I give you, I'm your consultant, okay? And I give you, or do you want to be, okay, you're an investor and you are a very smart man, so you make your own decisions. Okay?
But you're the consultant.
You choose your own package of stocks in which to invest, correct?
Okay.
You see they don't work well. What do?
I consult.
You consult. This, however, is a bit more on uncertainty. Okay? Because if you consult, you're searching, you're iterating. This is risk. So things are given. Now the markets have changed. And you know they have changed. You know exactly the way they have changed. But you need to take a new decision.
I'll invest again.
How do you invest again? So you change your stock plans. You change what items you buy, what items you sell. So the innovation isn't just in changing
the way I run my business, basically.
Yeah, the way you exchange.
Yes.
And who is the entrepreneur in this case?
The one, that's me.
That's you. That's the single investor, the one who predicted what could have happened. The one who said, okay, this is what we're going to do. So in the market, in the risk environment, the innovation is in changing the stocks in which we buy and sell. And the person that makes this decision is in some way an entrepreneur. Now, in uncertainty, who could be, what is the innovation in uncertainty? So here, organizations are made again of routines, of iterations, of procedures. So what is an innovation in an uncertain organization? Just by novelty, what it could be. Let's say I don't know, again, Fiat. I decided to open a new, or let's say I'm the university, okay? And we decided it's high time to open a new department. Okay? And we open medical sciences. What did I do here? So when we decide to open medical science, and it's going to be over there in FBK, we just change it and it becomes medical science. Sorry for FBK. What happens? Changes everything. Oh, sorry, what did you say? You change the routine. That's very good. You create a new procedure. You create a new routine. So in functional or divisional or certain organizations, the innovation lies in creating new routines, new procedures. I add a division, I add a function, I add a loop to improve my software, or something like this. This, in an uncertain environment, is innovation. And who is the entrepreneur? Sorry? It's the person that comes up and invents a new routine. And if there is not one single person, or if there's no new routine to invent, but just to improve, it's going to be the overseer, we could call it. So somebody that takes a step back and says, okay, well, this is, this could be tweaked like this, or this could be moved. And he who changes and oversees and improves on functions and on procedures, he is the entrepreneur. Sorry? I'm sorry, I should move here, I guess.
Sir, I said a question.
Yeah, sure.
What if it's always one person that gives the go, someone that says yes or no, but there are other people that bring up the ideas, the changes, and all of that. So who is the entrepreneur?
So, the question is there always a single person? For now, we have always talked about a single person, but what happens when you have a group of people? Okay, is this correct? So there are two answers. One is we'll see it in a bit, because things kind of change a bit more, because you're trying to see where this is going. When we have multiple people contributing, it's hard to pin it down on a single person. But the other option, which is maybe the simpler one, is just to say, whether it is a person or a group of people, you just say, well, there is a single entity that in the end makes a decision and iterates. Okay? You can say the function itself is, the functional unit itself is finding new routines. You can say the division is finding new routines, or maybe it's actually the boss. It's the single person. But it's a good point. Sometimes we don't have one single person. Sometimes we have multiple people feeding back. And this blurs things out, because of course the point of decision is no longer me, it's no longer one person. But before we start to think about the role of the people, I'm asking you this. There is one aspect which we haven't touched much, and that is time. Okay? So if you remember when we were talking about rationality, at some point we said, okay, all this discussion is very good, now let's flip it upside down. Okay? We're going to do something similar here, but my first question is going to be, what do you think is the role of time in the discussion we had up until now? So what is time doing? Is time having a role in this? So, you wake up in the morning, you look at the clock, and you say, wow, it's 10:30 a.m. because students wake up late, let's say. And what do you decide? You know that at some point you have to have lunch. Okay? So you have to have lunch, 1 o'clock. If we are in Argentina, maybe 12 or 30. Okay? And what happens between 10:30 that you have woken up and 1 o'clock? You wake up, you do your own things, maybe you have to study, maybe you have to go to a class. Let's say you have a class from 11 to 1. So you are managing time. You are saying, okay, from here to here I do this, from here to here I do that, from this point to this point I do something else again. And we say, well, I have my procedures go through time, iterate over them, but I'm still managing time. Okay? How could we... Yeah, please.
So basically everything depends on time. So if you're supposed to change your routine, I think it also has to do with time. So if you're supposed to also invest after maybe having bad returns, then it must have taken some time for you to have gotten those results. And you must think and say, okay, is this the right time? Is this the wrong time? So...
But the question is this: do you see the time that is passing? is it you taking a decision based on time, or is it something else? You have to take a decision before the others, so time matters. There is a time pressure. There is a time pressure, so you say, of course, I can manage my time, but only up to a certain point. Because if you are trying to invest and somebody there is faster than you, then suddenly you don't have a choice anymore. You have to follow what he's doing, or you lose too much. Okay, so we're kind of getting there. So we said, let's flip it over.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Basically, time is influencing our decision. We can say that, yeah, so it can make you make the wrong decision, it can make you make the right decision, but we cannot live outside time. So in a way, yeah, it's influencing us.
Yeah, so time is becoming an actor, okay?
Yes.
But since we're moving here, please.
Maybe time can manage me.
Maybe time,
Both sides.
exactly. So maybe if it worked, you say, if it worked like this before, where we had ourselves being very, stalwart and omniscient, and we managed our time, we have our timetable.
For example, if I have another deadline in a project, the time is managed me because I have to run to finish the project. So I think that in the modern country, it's more the time managed person, not the person managed time.
Okay, this is very interesting. So what happens, because what we're saying is, okay, I have a deadline for a project. Did you have a chance to alter the deadline?
Depends. Usually not.
Usually not. Usually there's no way for you to act on the deadline. There's no way for you to take a management on your own time. Time is the manager.
It's a resource.
It's a resource. But as you said, the flip-off is time from manage with a D in the end becomes the manager with an R in the end. So this is the flip. Sorry? Goes both ways, of course. There's no single matter. There's no one way. There's no either I'm managing all my time or time is purely managing me. But we have put one thing which was not there before. So the fact that time can now take decisions on my behalf. So if I tell you that today you have class from 2 to 4 in Pogo, guess where you're going to be in 2 to 4 in Pogo? If you don't come, we can't do that absence, and you drop off the course. Maybe. We're not this strict, but maybe it's the way it works. So time is managing your life. You don't manage time, time is the manager.
For you to say that we have class at 2 at Pogo, that's you managing time, right?
Yes, but then on you,
Yeah.
this is me taking the decision of where to hold the class,
Yeah.
but it's then up to you. You don't have a choice in when the class is going to be
Yeah, but
held.
if I can somehow talk to you and we agree that, okay, it's not 2 but maybe 2:30, then yeah.
So let's do like this. It's very good. Keep it there, and let's start to think like this. So this is where, sorry, back end of the class, please. Thank you. So if this, if before we had, if we're moving into ambiguity now, which of course is the point of the entire thing, ambiguity, we had a very important name, Jim March. Okay? And of course, it's Jim March here again, James March. And there's a quote from one of his papers saying, you don't manage time, time is the manager. So, when we talked about the ambiguity environment, we had 2 key ambiguity week. So first kind of ambiguity. We had 2 key words to talk about the environment and ambiguity. Do you remember them? We had the tale of the soldier lost in the Alps. Did we tell that to you, or didn't we? No, we didn't. Okay, this is a big mistake. Okay, so I'm going to give you this tale. There's a group of soldiers, like 3 people, that during the First or Second World War, I don't remember, but it's irrelevant, they get lost in the Alps. They get lost in the Alps, and the army waits for them for some days, and after a while they decide to leave them for days. So they say, well, they're missing in action, we can't do anything to recover them. After months, they get back. They get back to the camp, and the overseer of the army, the lieutenant captain, says, "Wow, how did you get here?" And they said, "Well, we just needed some time to figure out the map, and we needed to find our way back." And the captain is like scratching his head, and he tells you, "Could you show me the map?" And they're like, "Sure, here it is." They give him the map, and he's even more puzzled because he says, "This is the wrong map. This is not the map of the territory in which we are in." But in the end, they make a conclusion, which maybe what you need is not a map for the territory, what you need is simply a map. So, ambiguity 1 is the point in which there is some blur, and the two key points are maps and territories. We build maps to make sense of the territory. The map is not the territory, because if I give you a map of, I don't know, Colle Sant'Agata, which is the small hill behind here. Has anyone been up there? Yes, you have. How are the paths? Are they well traced, or are they a bit, there's so and so. But what happens if tomorrow, your assignment for tomorrow is go up to Colle Sant'Agata, okay? You're all very good students, you all go up to Colle Sant'Agata, and our friend there goes in 2 days' time to Colle Sant'Agata. How's the path now? It's better. So we have a territory, we have built the map. The map says, this path is a bit untraced. People cross it, the path has changed. The territory changed, now we need another map. So in ambiguity, what we are doing is we are building maps. We have territory which changes always, which we can never have perfectly updated, but we're building maps. We're saying, okay, now people have crossed this path. The path is from a dotted line becomes a white line, like in mountain maps. Or maybe people forget about it for 20 years, and from a white line it becomes a dotted line again. So we build maps. We build, we have the territory and we try to make sense of it. Retrospective rationality. Correct? You see how this fits together for now? So, we are getting there, okay? We have this idea that there is some part of prospective thinking. So the territory is there. I can go there and look at it, and I can say there is indeed a path in here. And there is a part which is purely retrospective. I couldn't have known that someday in a class, Lorenzo would have told 150 students to go walk the hill, and now the path is more marked. So, to see if we can build it from the ground up, what do you think are the elements in this class in which you don't have control, but in which time manages you? Let's just shoot a few examples of elements which are set by either by us, or sometimes not even by us, by somebody in the administration. The assignments, the battles. Do you know where the time of your battle was at the 15th of September? But you knew, and that's a certainty, that at some point you would have had a battle. Okay? So you don't know when it's going to happen, but it is going to happen. And still on the battle, did you know on which route you were beforehand? So, did you know the topic of the battle, first of all? No. And you didn't even know what side you were in, correct? No choice. Sorry? The scenario, you didn't know it. You might have even known the topic. It could have been virtual reality versus reality itself. But you couldn't have never guessed that at some point Matteo, Julia, and I would come here and start, making all this acts, correct? There's no way. These are things outside your control. But, so what happens at the point in which this thing happens? Do you have a choice? If I put you in that room and in that battle, do you have a choice? You don't. But can you make a decision regardless of whether you had a choice or not? Can you act in different ways? Of course, there's free will. Okay? So can you see how this is related to the map and the territory? There is a territory, which is our class, which has some rules, which has some certainties, if you wish. But then there are some things which are altered by how we behave. So, the question then is, at least to me, is, are we tossing away everything we had before? So are we tossing away all our procedures, all our functions, or our divisions, because we say, well, sometimes, it just happens that the train is late, the manager can't be there at the meeting. Should we just not have a manager at this point? So, the question is, do you realize there is a possibility that, for example, Matteo is not here now? There is. Do you think that because we might not have Matteo here, we should not hold class? Or we should not have a professor in the first place? If there is a reason, yes. But is there a reason for which, since Matteo is not here today, we should not have a professor at all? For now, there isn't. Okay? So, we still keep the procedures. We still keep the hierarchies. We still keep the routines. But we have to be a bit more flexible with them. So, before we take the break, I give you these two forces, these two main. So before, I was telling you that after the break, I will tell you what the name of this organization model is. Does anybody know by chance what they are? Just because maybe they've heard them before? There's two main names by which these organizations, which are partly, driven internally and partly externally, are called. Organizations in ambiguity. Well, the two names are Garbage Can Organization and Spaghetti Organization. Okay? So, garbage can, much like, the trash bin, this is the name James March gave to these organizations. And of course, we can guess why, because we just toss stuff in, and in the end, there is a mixture, something which we can't properly, rationalize, but it's there. It's just a mix of all the things that come into it. So in garbage can organizations, we have these two forces. One is internal and one is external. The key point is, as much as we had territory before, maps, organizations in ambiguity are all about interpreting reality. We have said ambiguity 1 is where you interpret reality. Ambiguity in a weak sense. Okay? So, in this way, the organization is some sort of the map we draw all together. A collective interpretation, if you wish, of reality. Sorry, can I ask you, back end of the class? Sorry, thank you. This is a collective work of interpretation, where each one contributes to an overall vision, if you wish. And of course, the key point is here that we have assumptions. We have some things which we keep for certain, and we have some fixed elements, we have some prospective elements, but these get blended with retrospective. So I'll try to give you this example. Let's say there is a big company meeting, okay? And of course, every company has a CEO, it has his vice, they have some middle management, then they have the employees, and they are the interns, okay? This is a big company. And executive meeting is called. And this company is here in Povo for some reason, and the executive meeting is in Terlago. Okay? You know where Terlago is? The room? No. I don't. Okay? So in the meantime, a group of students is having a meeting to discuss their project assignments in Toblino. Okay? So in Interlago, there's supposed to be each of the management people, and in Toblino, there's a group of students. It happens that one of these students is also an intern in the company that is meeting in Interlago. So at 11 o'clock of Wednesday, they go up in Bogo, the management group goes in Interlago, the students group goes in Toblino, but one student takes the wrong route. And this is the student who, of course, was an intern. And the student who was an intern goes in Interlago, where the management meeting was supposed to be held. He goes inside there and he sees all the bigwigs, or some of the bigwigs, and he says, I can't go out. Because if I go out, it looks like I'm very stupid, so I don't want to go out. He's there, he sits there, and at some point, they start talking about this division, and a decision needs to be made. And his division is, I don't know, R&D, and they ask, okay, R&D manager, what is your decision? They look around, the R&D manager isn't there. Okay, well, the assistant, where is the assistant? And the assistant isn't there. And they go all the way down until the end, it's the intern. You, what is your opinion? He gives their opinion, and the intern has made a decision. Is this the way a procedure is supposed to work? Or is this the ideal model is supposed to work? If you were in a procedural organization, can an intern take a decision, a big decision? Typically not. But here's the deal. If this was a mission critical meeting, okay, and we assume that there is a decision that needs to be made, and this student maybe is, I don't know, very good with English, or he speaks very, boldly. So he asks you, what is your point? And he's like, yes, my point is that according to paragraph 7 of the paper 22 of James March, we have to do this, this, and this. They say, okay, wow, this is a very good point. Good. Agreed. But they never thought that maybe they don't realize even he is an intern. Maybe they think he's the son of the boss. Maybe they think, actually the boss called him and I told him, yes, you should tell this. What would you think in the same situation?
Who the hell are you?
Exactly, but the thing is this. I'm probably the same age as you. I'm here, I'm lecturing. Who the hell am I? Right? But as long as you don't, as long as I don't start completely telling you something crazy and unrelated from the lecture, you don't ask me to show you my contract, which by the way is very much existent, and it is in the admin office, but you don't ask me to show you my contract. Because you assume that there has been some rational process. And there has been some rational decision making for which, in this case, Matteo isn't here, so his assistant is holding the lecture. This isn't crazy. So there was a procedure, there is a routine, then there are what in literature is called temporal orders. Temporal orders are the key word of the entire ambiguity story in organizations. And they are things that just happen. Things that you can't influence, but just because of time, this happens to be there. It happens to be that there's no managers in the meeting. It happens to be that the train is late and the manager can't be there. It happens to be that you meet a person in a train and that person is your future employer. Can you affect it? No way. But time is the manager. The temporal orders take the decision for you. And they shape organizations. Does this make sense? So, the question is this. Can you think of a situation in which you just have temporal orders? Which, by the way, temporal orders is the literature name, but they can also be geographical orders. They are constraints that come just out of geography. We were talking, in retrospective, when we were talking about retrospective decisions, there was somebody that said, yes, I came to Trento because it's a beautiful university, everything works very well, this high in the rankings. And then I asked him, where are you from? And he said, from Trento. Okay? So the geographical decision, the temporal order, takes priority. So, to map this again in the class, can you think of temporal orders in the class? What happens on Thursday? We have a class. Do we usually have a class on Thursday? No, we don't. Do you think we had specifically decided to add an extra class on Thursday just to be annoying to you? Yeah, maybe. Truth is, we did not. We were not trying to be annoying. Just so happened that, like 3 times before, we were not there because we had another meeting with the IB group again on Tuesday. Temporal orders. We skipped the lecture then. We have to recover it now. When? Thursday. What time? We don't decide. We ask, when is B107 free? They tell us 11 to 13. We say, okay, 11 to 13. Temporal orders. Time manages you. I would add Great Soviet Russia with this.
So the seekers blog and their questions, is that temporary?
Of course.
Because who the fuck are they?
It's 8 p.m. You're out enjoying your pizza, and I don't know, maybe you didn't read the instructions before. Seekers blog is out. Can you read it at 8 p.m. if you're out for your pizza? Maybe for a bit like antisocial, and you pull up your phone and start reading the Seekers blog, right?
Yeah.
But maybe you can't. That is a temporal order. Things just happen to be at that time. Nothing you can affect.
What I was asking the fact that they were given the authority to
Oh, you mean that the fact that they have a right to ask questions?
the fact that the seekers are fellow students, but they now happen to have the authority to write text and ask questions, is that not?
I think not, but think of it like this. How many people here applied for the seekers role? How many sent an email in the beginning of the class saying, I want to be the class's seeker? There should be 8. So, well, of course, the 2 seekers, no 3. Well, there's a bunch of you that probably are hiding or not listening, or a linear combination of the 2. Anybody else that applied for the seeker? Well, my question, oh, another one over there. But then you got reshuffled if I'm not mistaken, right? You're still in the executive committee now. No, well, okay, then you're just a very familiar face for some reason to me. Anyway, of the 2 people that did not get picked, in complete fairness, and I'm also going to be, and the other people that did get picked, in complete fairness, of the people that, the 2 that got picked, do you think it was purely out of merit? Do you think we had all the time to analyze your curriculum? We went on LinkedIn, we went on Google, we asked our seeker spies to inform of whether you are going to be the optimal seeker for the class and you are going to be the optimal seeker for the class. And in the end, we made an Olympic decision? No way. We had 8 applicants, some of which were not so good, so we said, okay, that's good enough. Then at some point we said, we have to make a decision. We called them all, if you're not mistaken, we did this with the seekers, and the meeting was at 1 in Toblina, or in Garda. Who was there at 1 in Garda? 3 people. Or just the 2 of you? Yes. There we go. Temporal orders. 8 people. We filter out 4 because of merit. There's still 4 that has to context. When is the meeting? 1 p.m. on Wednesday? Are you there at 1 p.m. on Wednesday? No. Sorry, you're right. Temporal orders. These affect decisions. These shape who gives you the grade. But why they can give you the grade is not, this is not a temporal order. Who they are, maybe is a fruit of a temporal order. But why they give you the grades, this is pure delegation. So why they have the authority to give a grade and to have a role in your evaluation, in your exam? This is a process called delegation. This simply means in this case I don't, but Matteo holds a power, which is to grade you, and he says I'm going to offload a bit of this to somebody else. In this case it's even different because this is just additive. So it's not real like a delegation of, he isn't saying of the 10 points that you have, 2 will be given by the seeker. He's just saying they can add a bit.
What I'm actually questioning is not about one question, the link, the temporal orders.
So the link between the temporal orders and this arrangement. I would say the link, there's not much a strong link of this, because even if the seekers would have been the 2 other people, or 4 of those that got ruled out, they would still have had the delegation from Matteo to give the marks. So the temporal order in this case affected who the seekers are, their physical being, but not the powers they have. Can you agree, or do you think there's something which... Okay. Do you think we have other examples of temporal orders? In this class, in other classes maybe? Is any of you, well, there should be a bunch of you in EIT, correct?
Yes.
Who is in EIT?
Klaus.
Hold in the front, mostly in the front, okay. So, can I ask the people in the back, where are you going next year? Hungary. And you? And you? Where are you from? But, see this. So this is maybe, and so no, wait, the question would be, why are you going to Hungary before? Well, in your case, it might very well be a geographical order, but maybe for the other 2 people, I don't know, maybe you're very interested in the specific training they give there. Happens also to be your hometown, but you would have chosen it anyway, even if it was in the Netherlands, in Belgium, in Sardinia. You would have still gone there. But of the people in the IT that are around here, did any of you not get the destination they thought they wanted to go for next year? Yeah, this? You didn't? So where did you want to go? Yeah, for the second year. Where did you want to go? What was your...
In Twente.
In Twente? And where did you end up going?
In Twente.
In Trento.
Yeah.
Okay, so you had... Yeah. And why did it happen that you had to change? You don't know?
Actually,
So, no, what I meant to say is this. You were supposed to go in Twente, correct?
yeah.
Twente, which is Twente, by the way, for those that are not in the group, is in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
In the end, you went to Trento, Italy, correct?
Yeah. Because it's the other.
It was the
only
other
other
option.
choice.
The only other choice.
Yeah.
So again, why was it the only other choice, by the way?
Because in this track there is only.
S&P has only 2 options. Either you go here or you go there. But there could be yet another case. For example, it might be that some universities close their admissions a week before. You say, well, I have until the deadline. The deadline is on the 15th, but that other university closes the 7th. On the 10th, you say, well, okay, let's apply to the university for next year. You send it your forms, and they say, I'm sorry, this one closed 1 week before. You have to go to Trento now. You have no choice. Temporal orders. Others on temporal orders? So can I ask here, did any of you ever have a project in the university which they failed miserably, or almost failed miserably? Any of you? I'm not going to call names, not going to just to have a discussion. In the back, any of you? A terrible project. What the hell I'm glad that is behind me. You did? No, I was just looking for volunteers, really. Any of you had a very bad project? You did. Did you choose the group in which you had this project? You did. And did these people in the past give you very good performance?
One of them, yes. The other one, not. But we were friends, so.
You were friends, so you just decided to go together. I'm going to hold you there because maybe I'm sure we can find the other opinion, the other position, the one that I was looking for, just for statistics. Anybody else had a terrible project? I can't trust you. Someone here is lying. Like most of you here are lying. I had some terrible projects. Anybody?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just going to ask this to the back of the class, okay? But then I'll come back to you, I'm sure. By the way, this was the reaction I was having every time I raised my hand last year, so I very much sympathize with the gentleman in the front. Nobody else? Well, I'm going to tell you my experience, and then maybe we can share a bit. So I was doing software engineering, and we had a very complex project to deliver. And in the end, it happened that I had a very close friend with which I worked very well, but there was 2 of us, and the groups had to be of 6 people. So in the end, we got randomly assigned to 4 other people, and these people were terrible. They didn't know a thing. They didn't know a thing either of theory or of coding. And what can you do? Nothing. There's no way. This is the group you've been dropped into. This is a temporal order. It happens that in the end, you wake up last day. Who is available? Nobody. I also had a similar experience this year where I got assigned to a person I didn't know before. We had a good time. We did pretty well. Then in the end, we had to drop off the course. But temporal orders. I didn't choose my project partner. Happened to be good, but we didn't have a choice. It just happened that we woke up a week too late, and who was free? Me and this other person. That's it. Okay? Temporal orders. Okay, we have had plenty of examples. So, of course, the question... No, actually, before. Is there anything? Sure? Okay. So the question, before we move to where is innovation and who is the entrepreneur, would be this. We have talked about temporal orders, which of course, they are fruit of randomness. But since we are in ambiguity, we have said there are situations in which it happens that the decisions are retrospective. So, our assumption when we think about organizations is that organizations have a problem and they want to solve that problem. So, we have the problem of energy, we make a utility. I team up with 1, 2, and 3 people and we make a utility. And we provide energy. We solve the issue of energy. But we also have the other way around. Sometimes we have solutions looking for a problem. And in this case, I'm going to put 2 examples on the table. The first one I'm going to ask is does anybody of you have a side project for a startup? Very honestly, very openly, nothing to shoot on anybody. Startup, a side project, a pet project. You're making an app, you're making a website, a blog. Anybody? In the front? Maybe shift in the front. Pet projects, startups, blogs. You do, but if he doesn't volunteer, I don't want to push him, okay? Oh, you didn't understand the question. Okay, that's fine. The question is, does any of you people have a side project which they do as a hobby, which is maybe a startup, or you are developing an app, or you are developing a website, or a service, or something like this? Okay, you do. So, can I briefly ask you what this is about? Okay, just the microphone.
I can't tell you, but no, it's like a waste management of like food in the supermarket, and it's like a business idea that we are.
It's a business idea about managing food in a supermarket. And in this case, this is well grounded in reality, because it happens that there is lots of legislation and lots of policy being done nowadays to fix this issue. So you have, in this case, however, here's the thing. You have a problem, you try to be the solution, but what happens when you have a solution and you look for a problem? Can you think of any application, app, whatever that was a solution looking for a problem? Antivirus. For example, sometimes we are selling a lot of antivirus which maybe don't even detect the threats we are to be protected from, but we sell them. We are a solution and we say, there's the viruses everywhere, you should really buy it. You would be a fool not to buy it. What about social networks? Do you think social networks are solutions, are problems, are a solution to a problem? Or do you think they were a solution and we built the problem around the solution? The other way around. Why do you think so?
They addressed that problem that was the difficulty of getting in touch with people, you know, from all over the world, etc. And nowadays the situation is changed, and maybe people are too much in, I don't know how to say, but you know, too much addicted to.
So, in some way, can I rephrase it? You could say, there was an issue of communication before. Nowadays, though, if you go along and promote a new social network, you can't address the problem anymore. Because, for example, now the problem is already solved. If I want to get in touch with any of you, if I want to get in touch with the mother of somebody here who lives in Australia, I can do it. I don't need a new tool. But if, for example, I build a new tool to do this, suddenly I am a solution looking for a problem. So I need to find a niche, maybe, in which I can fit. Can you see how this goes? Can you think of other solutions looking for problems in computer science? Or in the general technology realm? What about cameras in smartphones? Did we ever need cameras in smartphones? Did we have cameras before? We did. Cameras, you know, the regular ones. There's no photo keeper at the minute, but you know, cameras, we very well had them. Were they better than the one we have now built in on the smartphones? Yes. Big time better. Way better. An 80 camera makes pictures that, you know, nowadays you can't make it with not even a digital camera sometimes. But we had a solution. We had a way to put a camera on a portable device, and we built the problem. What happens if you go for a hike on a mountain, you don't want to carry your equipment, and suddenly you want to take a picture of the scenery? You have a camera in the smartphone. We had a solution, and we have created a problem around the solution. So, organizations in this ambiguity build the reality around them. They may be problems, they may be solutions to already existing problems, or they may be solutions looking for a problem to solve. And both of these approaches are fine, and the result is always a garbage can. A mixture of things that were already there and the organization process and internal factors for the organizations and temporal orders. Randomness. But it's not much on randomness, but more on temporal orders. So things that happen to be there, but we couldn't decide. We didn't have a stake on them. And now we move on to then what is innovation in ambiguity? innovation in garbage cans. So I have developed an application to move that allows me to coordinate the distribution of toilet paper in all the toilets of the university. Do we need this? Do we need an application that the administration has to check the number of toilet paper rolled in each toilet? Okay, now there is no paper, that's fair enough. But do we need an application? If it is useful, yes. Which means that in this case, for example, since I already have the technology, I have a solution, and I see that there is a problem. What I have is a vision. I have a vision in which all toilets should bloody have paper in them. Makes sense? So innovation can be a vision. Can be, I know that I want something to be fixed. I know that this problem has to be fixed. So I gather my company or my people around me and we work towards that goal, to achieve that goal. What could other ways, other forms of innovation? So let's take this class again. We had a vision. We had that. We had the vision of a class in which I was not standing here twisting slides. Then we started, we had something, if you want, some solution, because we had a good teacher, we had 2 teaching assistants, and we had some physical solutions, which were the people that were managing the class. Then we collectively, with you, build the map to the class's territory. So collective map building is another way in which you can have innovation in organizations which are in ambiguity. What else could be an innovation in ambiguity? So, visions, somebody saying, this has to be fixed, this has to be addressed. This is the way I want to tackle this issue. Collective map building, I engage all the actors around me to work towards a goal. Maybe I don't have a vision, but we work towards building a common map. What else? What is a driver of innovation in in ambiguity? We want to make, we are a company that provides seeds for rice, and rice needs a lot of water to grow, correct? You need to flood the plains in which you grow rice. It happens that we have a drought for 5 years, one after the other. We need to innovate, but did we control whether we would have a drought, una secca, una aridità per 5 anni, for 5 years, or did we have not control over this? We can't control weather. I mean, maybe through climate change, I guess, but we can't control weather. So random factors can be innovation drivers. It happens that we don't have it. What happens if suddenly we get news that there is no lithium on Earth anymore, and we can't use lithium anymore? What about all our batteries? We'll need to find something else. Will we find something else? Of course we will. But suddenly we are in need for innovation. Random factors. And who is the entrepreneur in garbage cans? Let's say you're on a train and you meet a beautiful lady, you engage in conversation, then back in the days you would have asked very timidly her phone number, and she would have given you her phone number, you would have called her up, yeah, what about meeting for a coffee tomorrow? Now you ask a friendship on Facebook, I guess, and suddenly you know whether she's married, how many kids she has, what is her hobby, what is everything, correct? Internal processes to transform the environment. I know somebody here made a great example of this, and I also know who he is, but I'm not going to tell it. But I say like this: Seeker's blog, 10 p.m. I have to answer the question. I have to do it before the others. One option is I do it random because I don't have enough time. Another option is if I have 5 questions, what do? I call 5 other people or 4 other people. Each one reads one question. They give me the answers. I have it right away. I took some external actors and I co-opted them in with a transaction.
Are they external?
In this case, they were external, but this could be a solution. Or they could have been external, they could have been internal. But the point is still, I can co-opt other actors to make something true, to make myself the winner, to change the environment. So, if I have a complex system, moving actors allows me to change the system in which I'm in. Let's summarize really briefly all of this different environments, rationalities, and organizations, which we have discussed until now, in the class, okay? So, let's take the battles in the class, okay? And for each one of you, is going to be in a battle, okay? So, what are the certainties, what are the risks, and uncertainties, and ambiguities on each of your battles? Certainty. What is uncertainty about battles?
You must do a battle.
It's on Monday, or there will be a battle. So let's say we happen to be here on Monday. Now, what are the risks? Who did the battle yesterday? Okay. Did something unexpected happen yesterday? The test. Could you have looked for information to predict whether the test would have been there or not? Yes, you could. That's very strange because I didn't even know we were going to have a test tomorrow. Not even myself.
Professor gave an assignment to see a movie.
Yeah, but the test was not on the assignment.
But do you know, before we also gave you movies to watch and we didn't put a test. You had a statistic for which maybe you could have said it's more likely that we have a test because he asked us to put a movie. It was a... You were not certain, but what did you have? You had a risk, a probability. Okay? Purely probability. What is an element of uncertainty in our classes? So uncertainty, try to also think not much in terms of the environment if you want, but also in terms of routine. What are the routines in the battles we have each week?
Who speaks first?
Who speaks first? There is a decision about who speaks first. Not also, but also the result is uncertain because there is a poll which we have. This is the routine. We have the poll, but we don't know who wins. This is still uncertain because we have to change it some way. And how does this go into ambiguity then?
You don't know how people will vote.
Sorry? You have the poll, correct?
Yeah.
To decide the winner. The poll is the routine, is the uncertainty. But where is the ambiguity?
You don't know how people will vote.
You don't know how people vote. Very good. But what can you do?
You can ask them to vote for you.
Exactly. You can ask them to vote for you. You can construct the reality around yourself. You can make a self-fulfilling prophecy. You can say, I win. I'm sure I'm going to win. I go to my friend there and I says, will you vote for me because I'm sure I'll win, but I'll need your support as well. He says, sure, I'm voting for you. And I co-opt him into my network. And this makes me win in the end. Okay?
Yes.
Another element of ambiguity, what could it be? It could be which room is booked, for example. You know you're going to publish, maybe it's a bit more uncertainty. So yeah, maybe, yeah, not a good example. Okay, so before we go, I leave you with the assignment for next week. And this is not for Thursday's class, but it is for next theory class. Whenever it's going to be, we'll inform you, don't worry. You have 2 papers to read. I'm sorry this time you really have papers. But I can tell you there's no need to go in depth into them, but there is a need for you to understand them. Maybe the note keepers can help with, providing a digestion, or maybe you can help each other to provide a digestion. These 2 papers are called A Garbage Can Model for Organizational Choice by James March. We'll put the titles on the website. And Toward a Model of Organizations and as Interpretational Systems of Car Bike. But we'll put them on the website. Thank you. We're finished.